Hey YouTube friends, this is Fran-Sez. I I don't think I got much above 40 here today in Jacksonville, Florida. I um, I was out at the bus stop at 8 a.m. and believe me, it was like 30 degrees outside, and so I had to take a bus north. Then I had to get off the bus that goes by my apartment and catch a bus going south to Orange Park. So I did that. And I was waiting in the cold just for 10 minutes and it was freezing. And it was kind of windy. This is like the coldest day that we've had down here. And, everybody that's up there, in 0 degrees and buried in snow, I don't expect any sympathy from you people. But for Florida, it was cold. I got a bra on. I have a white long sleeve shirt. I got a reddish color short sleeve shirt on, a hoodie, and I had a blue windbreaker on top of that. And I was out there, and I tell you, the wind was just cutting through me like a knife. And I was cold, okay? So I took the bus down to Orange Park Mall. I had to stand out in the cold. I'm standing in the sun, and so that at least part of me that's hitting the sun's hitting is staying, keeping me warm. And I'm out there in that wind, freezing my ass off. It took about 40 minutes, 40 minutes for the shuttle bus to come. That bus takes me down to like probably within half a mile of where my gender therapist appointment was, and I had to hoof it. So, it took me about 15 minutes to walk, and, it's cold, windy, and I had to stop at a couple traffic lights and cross, but it was very cold out there today. And let's say 40, let's say it's 40 with the wind chill, it's probably 30 degrees out. By the time I got to where I was going, my knees were were hurting. They were numb. Took about an hour to warm up in the doctor's office, not the doctor, the therapist's office. And I got there about an hour and a half before my appointment, which is good because the way the shuttle bus runs every hour, so I don't like taking the last bus, but anyways, so then I had to walk all the way back from my appointment back to where I could get the shuttle bus. And believe me, I was so hungry I didn't eat anything today, and I was cold and hungry. So I rode the bus, and I ain't kidding you, the bus, there was so much traffic at 2:30 this afternoon, getting out of Orange Park, and so I rode the bus for an hour, and it got all the way up. And I got off the bus and walked about 3 or 4 blocks to Carmen's Pie House. Francis needed a couple of cold beers and a Stromboli to warm up, So I went there and I ate for about an hour. Then I walked up the street a block to Park Place Lounge. I had a couple of bourbon and sodas, and I was probably only there about an hour. Then I had to go out to the bus stop and catch another bus. So I caught a bus out to the end of the line where the bus that brings me home goes. I'm sitting out there in the cold, and my bus was supposed to come in 5 minutes, and 10 minutes go by. I'm like, oh my God, if that bus was early, I have to sit out here in the cold for another hour. And fortunately, here comes this bus, and apparently it was 5 or 10 minutes late because the bus that normally does that route ran out of gas. I guess they didn't even check the gas gauge in the morning because it's somebody else's job. Imagine you're driving a bus, but that bus, it changes drivers during the day, so people just figure it's going to go and go and go, and so the bus runs out of gas, so they had to send another bus out. That's why it was 5 minutes late. So this big, huge bus comes. And I didn't even think it was my bus because, you know, it was like twice the size of the shuttle bus I usually take. So I'm sitting there in the cold and I'm looking, I go, oh, God. And then I looked, I go, oh, that's the 34 bus. And I says, what the hell? Why is it that big? So I stood up and I waved, and the lady stops, and I got on the bus. There was nobody on the bus until I got on board, right? And I'm there, oh, thank God. I says, I'm sitting here thinking I missed the bus by a couple minutes because the other bus that brought me there was running 5 minutes late. And I mean, I'm thinking I'm just going to sit out here, you know, in the middle of Alaska for another hour waiting for the next bus. And no, we're just a few minutes late. I'm there, well, thank you. So I got on the bus, and the bus was warm compared to outside. What an adventure! So I got home about 6:15, and I left here to go to the bus stop at 8 o'clock this morning. So it was like a 10-hour tour. And I spent 1 hour. Oh, I spent like 2.5 hours in my therapist's office, you know, and then, you know, I had to walk to and from there, and then take a couple buses each way, and then I spent like an hour eating food at the Carmen's, and then I spent about an hour having a couple drinks at Park Place. So really, I mean, out of the 10 hours of the day, I spent like maybe, let's see, two and a half, let's say 2.5, 5 hours. Half the time I'm in some warmth. I was freezing my ass off out there, you know, and like, yeah, maybe riding buses. I probably spent like 2 or 3 hours riding buses today. But, you know, sitting out there waiting at the bus stop in the wind and the cold, I'm freezing. Fran-Sez wears sandals with no socks. You know, and my feet don't get cold. That's the funny part of it, right? Everything else on me is cold, right? I'm all wrapped up and everything, and I'm really cold, but my feet ain't cold. I don't get it, you know. I mean, you think my feet would get numb from the cold, but they don't. So I don't know. And I had the hoodie up like this, you know, with the jacket hood, to, you know, because a lot of heat goes out through your head, you know. And but I made it around, and I finally got home, and I've been home for about an hour and a half. It's almost 8 o'clock. So basically, I had a good day. I had a good meeting with my therapist. I hadn't seen her since like before Thanksgiving, 3 months ago. So, anyways, we had kind of a lot to talk about, but boy, I'll tell you, when you're in there talking to your therapist, 45 or 50 minutes goes by like that, you know. Anyway, so I'll be going to see her again in 2 months in April, at the end of April. So, anyways, that's about all I have to report. And in 2 weeks, I go in and I get my blood checked, and then in like a month and a half, I get to see my doctor again, and he's going to check all the blood test results and see how I'm doing on HRT. So that's about all I have to say. Gee, 10 minutes went by. But anyways, my heart really goes out to all the people up there and snowbound and in the cold. And we're getting cold down here in Florida, but you know, I mean, in the 30s and maybe up to 40, but it's supposed to get up to like in the 70s by Sunday. So this is just like a 3 or 4 day cold snap. But hey, you got to expect that in February, you know? And so hopefully, let's see, it's the 19th. Yeah, hey, in a month it's going to be spring, right? March 21st. So, oh well. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Love everybody. And I'm going out and having lunch tomorrow. And I'm also going to go over to the Alibi because they're having another special goodbye party for my friend Lynn. So I was over there yesterday having a couple of beers. Yeah. And I left some cake over there when I went there Sunday afternoon. I got my cake pan back and I washed it. Anyways, Fran-Sez is going to be baking another cake for Sunday. See ya. Love everybody, and it's nice to be in a nice warm apartment. I just can't imagine living on the street. I mean, even here in Florida, it's like freezing out. So, stay warm.